And we now move on to the men's semi-finals. Again, the final will take place later on. Fastest through was a South African, Churik Michael van Wyk, but there's another South African, Tembe John Monoreng, who goes in this first of the 3 semi-finals. So this time, I hesitate to say it, but it looks like we are away, and Monoreng got a good start in lane 1, but going well is the Brazilian Paulo Andre Camilo, and he's going to streak away with this. And inside him, it looked like Zaleski might have just dipped for second place for the Czech Republic. Well, that was easy for Camilo. He didn't really need to do very much for that, to be honest with you. He could just take it very easily indeed. Brazil, of Japan, in 10.5 on the outside lane. Confirmation there. A quarter of a second, the difference between Camilo and Zaleski, but Zaleski won't care. And are already just warming up in front of us for the second of these semi-finals.
Attenzione alla verifica da parte dei giudici sulla battuta del lungo.
There is the fastest personal best is Volko of 10.13, but that's only just faster than Pereira do Nascimento by just 100th, so watch for those two. Let's hope we get off to a cleaner start this time. The gun goes and they're out of the blocks, and Volko is into his running as you would expect very quickly, but he's not the fastest one away. Fastest one away is Miyamoto. Miyamoto running, and Miyamoto's going to take it, and Volko has been run out of it into third place. 10.37. It's not as quick as the first heat, but don't forget that the first was run in 10.2, but there was a big gap from the winner. Fourth place was Juan da Jun, and that is not going to be fast enough to displace Carlos Nascimento, the Portuguese. At this stage, though,
that will stay in the sector for the next 3 rounds.
Paulo Andre Camilo in charge of things. 2 Brazilians through. And the next piece of athletics on the track will be the third and final semi-final. And Churik van Wyk will be the man to watch. So then Cassano in 1, Shu Nielsen in 2, Van Wyk in 3, Asamota in 4, Ansha in 5, Fuchs 6, Askovic 7, Pumpa in 8, the final heat of these semi-finals. Away we go then, and it's a good start by the man from Ghana, Sapo Ansah, but he's been overtaken now, and on the inside, as you would expect, it's the South African Van Wyk who comes across the line to take it from the Canadian Asamota. The winning time, 10.28. So not as quick. He's not the quickest this time to go through to the final, but he did do enough, and he was always in control. Only third in the South African Championships, like the Australians, of course. The main season for South Africans domestically is in the European winter, which always makes it complicated for them. They have to peak twice through the year. Of course, this year even more complicated because of the lateness of the World Championships, all the way in October, end of September in Doha. Well, Sapo got a good start, but he didn't have the speed to carry it through, and it wasn't long before Van Wyk and Asamota came steaming past him. 10.29 in the heats. He's gone 1/100th of a second.
I think there's going to be a party tonight.
Well, there could be another one as well. The men's 100 meters. The shortest of the finals. We have the men's 10,000 coming up after it. But we will find out who is the fastest student in the world before that at this World University Games. And Carlos Nascimento does not start, and so that is a shame. Well, this title has been won by the greats. Pietro Monet himself in Rome in 1975 picked it up. 4 years before he broke the world record for the 200 meters. Jan Bolko won the indoor European title at 60 meters this year. He got in as the fastest loser into this 100-meter final, though. Dwayne Asamoah of Canada in lane 3, Nascimento not in lane 2, but Pereira do Nascimento of Brazil is in lane 4. Chadwick Van Wyk, though, the favourite, we have to say, for this title. Trying to win back the crown that was won by Akani Simbine and Anaso Jabonwana in 2013 and 15 respectively. But Paolo Camillo will certainly have something to say about that, fastest into the final at 10.2. Dominik Zaleski of the Czech Republic came through as a fastest loser. Daisuke Miyamoto of Japan completes our top 7 because lane 2 will be empty, I'm afraid. The Universiade record set when Akani Simbine won the title in Gwangju in South Korea in 9.97. Can we see another sub 10-second time? Maybe not, but we could see another South African champion. So then Volko in 1, Asamoah in 3, Pereira do Nascimento in 4, Van Wyk in 5, Camillo in 6, Zaleski in 7, Miyamoto in 8. The final of the men's 100 meters on the 60th anniversary of the Summer Universiade. And the Canadian Dwayne Asamoah is not comfortable in the blocks.
We ask silence for the start of the final, please.
Signori, per favore, silenzio, grazie.
You can probably hear there that the Canadian was put off by some noise in the crowd.
On your marks.
So then once again Volko in 1, Asamoah in 2, Pereira in 4, Van Wyk in 5, Camillo 6, Zaleski in 7, and Miyamoto in lane 8. There is silence in the stadium this time as they settle into their blocks. And we're underway, and it's a good start by the Canadian Asamoah, but now coming through on this outside, the Brazilian Camillo. Camillo's coming away from this, and the Brazilian is going to streak to gold ahead of Van Wyk. Gold for Brazil, silver for South Africa.
Fantastic and absolutely outstanding in all the previous rounds.
10.1. And Camillo doesn't quite need the personal best that he's got to get the victory, but he had comfortably the speed he needed. And Brazil put their mark on the echelons of the champions of the 100 meters for men. Well, Van Wyk just couldn't deal with the pace. They say they run their own race, but he must have been affected by the speed there of Paolo Camillo. Well, the man who was 5th at the World Junior Championships 3 years ago, a couple of national titles for the 20-year-old as well. This is his first senior global championships. He was 8th in the World Youth Championships back in 2015 at 100 metres, before just missing out on a medal in the 200 at the South American Championships in the same year.
Still waiting for the official results for all the finals will be on the scoreboard.
Totally relaxed, and he's driving forward. Just a little grimace at the end, but he didn't need to because he was well ahead by the time they reached the line. He has a look around there. Where is everybody?
Quite outstanding. All the races now. The results appear for all the
Well, it's no
official.
Title for South Africa,
Silver medal position,
but it is a silver, and they continue their great history in this event. So Camilo ahead of Van Wyck in 10.23, with Donasciamento beating Jan Volko to the bronze medal by just 0.04 of a second. But the gold goes to Camilo. Run that 10.02 PB in Azusa back in April. He's edging towards joining the sub-10 second brigade. It surely won't be too long before he does that. He's a very young man indeed, a real talent for the future. And it would be nice to see Brazil come up with a